This question I received from a friend in person. And simplified, the question is, what do I do when I clearly communicated my boundary and other people don't respect it? Okay, so the answer is simple. You do what you said when you were defining the boundary. So, what's a boundary? It's a rule that you set to protect yourself from other people's free will hurting you and harming you, right? So, for example, I have a very lax boundary because I don't really get offended by anything. But let's say hypothetically, someone calls me a racial slur, and that's my line, right? You can make fun of my appearance, you can make fun of my masculinity, you can make fun of my, I don't know, whatever. But then if you call me racial slurs, maybe I'm working through that. It's not for anyone else to decide, and I decided that is gonna be my boundary. So if you call me a racial slur, I am just going to stop all communication with you, and I'm gonna leave if I'm physically together, right? Now, let's say I communicate that, but the world is full of people with free will. Just because I communicated it, it doesn't mean that other people have to listen to what I say, right? It's like saying, from this point on, every pizza shall have pineapple as a topping. Does not make it true. Like, does not make that actually happen. So, people are free to, they know your boundary, but they're free to cross it because there's nothing stopping them from doing so. So, what if they do call me a racial slur? Like I said, when I defined it, I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna stop talking to them. And that's it. It's very, it's very clear cut. You're doing this not to control the behavior of other people. You're doing this to protect yourself. Now, the reason why it may not be very clear cut like this, like, oh, just do it, it's because there are emotional attachments to the other person, or there is shame related to your boundary, right? So, I may be sensitive about racism, but then another person can come in and then they can say, oh, why are you so sensitive about that? You should relax a little bit. It's just having fun. Why do you have to be like that? Now, if I start agreeing with that, that's basically shame, right? I am finding this unacceptable, but then I'm finding my voice a little weakened because I'm contemplating, are they right? Am I being too sensitive about race? So I'm starting to make other people's attacks on me or other people's crossing the threshold my problem. Like, I'm making other people's violence my problem. And that is shame on the boundary. And another thing is, if you have, what if you really like this person and then they keep crossing your boundary? Well, it's a tough situation to be in, right? But ultimately, what it boils down to, after all the emotional turmoil and repeated instances of this happening, what you eventually come to realize is protecting yourself, like your sense of self and living life the way you want to, more important, or is keeping this relationship in your life more important? Keeping that relationship implies that that relationship is going to control your life and not you. And if that sounds appealing to you, no problem with that. But it's always worth thinking about why I relinquish control of my life. Because ultimate control of my life is the end destination, end game for any sort of self-actualization, self-realization, right? So, to summarize, boundaries are something that you define. Racial slur is something that I define too, right? So if someone calls me a monkey, like, some people would say that's just not racism at all. If I find it racist, it's racist because I make the rules, because this is my boundary. So I define a set of actions that I cannot accept, and when that line is crossed, I do what I define what I'm gonna do, and then when that line is crossed by other people, I just simply do the act. It doesn't have to be difficult. And if you're finding that difficult, two potential reasons might be number one, emotional attachment, and number two, shame about your boundary. All right, I hope this helps, and let me know if you have questions because this is a community and we all benefit from more back and forth communication. All right, I'll see you in the next video.